So guys, we have such a great show for you planned today. We are talking about balancing business and kids at home. This is such a hot topic right now, especially as we're wrapping up July, right? And school is right around the corner, and so many schools around the country are talking about not virtual learning, remote learning, there's different terms for it, but going into fall, families are making decisions. I forgot my microphone. Let me slide this in here. Families are making decisions on how do I send my kids back to school? Do I not? And if you're keeping them home, what is your business going to look like and how are you going to balance those things? So on today's show, we are going to talk about how to stay productive with the kids at home, how to prepare to balance your business with distance learning, how to show up for both your business and your kids without compromising on either side, my typical schedule, and then easy things I do to keep sane. So let's get started. Alright guys, if this is your first time tuning in, this is my show, Bliss to Abundance. I'm your host, Cyndi Williams. I've been in the industry, travel industry, for 25 years this year, and I am the CEO of Careers on Vacation, the best company in the world to help people grow, launch, supersize their travel businesses all over the world. But this is our live stream that we do for you guys every single week to talk about different topics, a lot of them very spot on to continuing to help you with your business. And I can't think of one that's more of a hot topic right now than, oh my gosh, travel's reopening right now and my kids have to go to school in a few weeks. Oh my gosh, how am I going to balance all of this, right? It's kind of like a new world. So if you're new to the show, welcome. There's only a few things you need to know about me. I love travel. I always share a cute coffee mug. So we have our Prevent Wildfire, is it Smokey the Bear? Yeah, I think so. I got that at Wilderness Lodge in Disney. So super fun, and I usually share cute little earrings. So now we're good friends. We can get started right into the program today. So first of all, how to balance business and navigating this new world with kids and remote learning. We actually homeschooled our kids, and by we I mean mostly my husband. God bless him, he is the patience of a saint. But we homeschooled for about 3 years, almost 4 years, when our kids were in their kind of early elementary years. And we learned some really valuable lessons. At the time, we also were working from home. We worked from home for a long time. We have our amazing big travel business, and that allows us to work from home, which is great, but it's like, how do you balance both of those things, right? So I have some good lessons that we learned through that process, and also how we're preparing. We have made the decision to keep our kids home for at least the first semester. Yes, because of COVID and just being extra careful, but also we might take them traveling a little bit, like not crazy traveling, but we might pick somewhere to go for like a month and then kind of, you know, be in this environment somewhere else, because you guys know we're travelers at heart, right? So there's some silver linings to remote learning too, and that's kind of cool. But specifically wanted to talk to you about, let's start with staying productive and my best tips for that. My first reminder is you guys control your schedule, right? If you are 100% from at home right now, or some of you are working other jobs, maybe your travel business is a hobby business, so you're balancing a, you know, corporate or another job from home, plus your travel business, plus the kids. It's a lot to manage, right? But I want to remind you, you have control over your schedule, especially if you are 100% dedicated to travel in your business. You don't have to subscribe to that 9 to 5 mentality. Your schedule can be more fluid than that. It can be different. That's one of the things we loved about homeschool for the years that we did it. We would do portions of schooling, and then sometimes we would go see a movie in the middle of the day, or we would do portions of schooling and then we would run errands. And we really based it off of our children's like focused time, and we figured out when they were most focused, and that's when we would do schooling, and then we could balance in other things that we had going on. So a lot of freedom in your schedule if you think about it just a little bit differently. What I like to do is think about your non-negotiables first in your scheduling. So when you're preparing a schedule or thinking about how am I gonna put a schedule together in this new world, think about what's a non-negotiable. For us, our family time comes first. So nights and weekends, we don't do schooling, we don't do business on nights and weekends. That's our time. You could pick a different time if you are, you know, if you have a child who doesn't love to be up at the crack of dawn, you can maybe let them sleep in a little bit, right? So you get to make those decisions, but decide what your non-negotiables are going to be in terms of those commitments. And then another piece to think about in your business is what are those times when you're meeting with clients, most likely on Zoom at this point, right? We've been actually training our clients for years to do calls via Zoom and things like that. So it's not new for a lot of our clients and grads that go through our programs. But if it's new for you, you have to remember if your child's gonna need you or they're gonna have a question, you wanna make the time where they're doing school kind of, if they're doing a task where you can balance it and take a client call, great. Depends on their ages, it depends on their level of questions. We have 2 kids, right? So our older daughter is very self-directed. She can kind of work from anywhere, straight A student, doesn't have a ton of questions. She does her own research. She's 14, she's a little older, right? So we can kind of let her go at this point. You know, she'll come to us if she needs something. But our younger little guy is 10, right? So he has a desk set up right next to my husband's office, and my husband literally has like school, and then he works on project work. So if Corin has a question, then they can go back and forth and he can help them along, like, Daddy, I can't print this worksheet, or can you help me with this? And that really helps. So, and I have an office, or I have a little desk. Let's see if I can move my, well, I can't move my camera because I have 2 set up, but I have a little desk in the corner, just trust me, set up. So, because Corin is one of those kids, he loves to be around people. He doesn't like to be like left in one spot. So we have a desk down by my husband's office, and then if he's busy or on a call, he can come up here and station up here in my office. So he always has a resource that's 5 or 6 feet away and can get his questions answered. But what we try to do is we schedule our client time, or I do a lot of webinars. I work with clients on video like this all day long. So those times are on my non-negotiable list, and we balance that out between my husband and I. So decide on those non-negotiables and where you can match that depending on what the kids' school schedules are gonna look like. But then remember, the rest is fluid, guys. You get to decide. You can take them to lunch if you want to in the middle of the day. That actually works really well. We tell the kids, like, get your chores done in the morning, get your schooling done, and we will take you to lunch. And sometimes we'll block that little hour and we'll run them for lunch, and that's like a huge treat for them, especially in this environment where you're not going out a ton, right? But you can do that stuff in the middle of the day, and it's almost like having a break, a mental break, and they can come back a little more refreshed, and it's not so much like business school, business school, business school, business school all day long, and by the end of the day, they're just exhausted, right? So the other thing I recommend for you guys is to avoid the time suck stuff. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, here's a couple of tips that I learned early on. This is like way back, like, you know, principles of time management, you know, Stephen Covey kind of stuff. Don't jump onto social media first thing in the morning, right? Do some of your task work to knock that out, or things you need to do that are important to you before you get into, so save social media for like pockets of time, you know, lunch or after, but just go look at your report. You guys know you can look at that report on your phone. This is how much time you're spending on social media. I guarantee you, if you just reduce it by an hour or 2 a week, you have so much more time that you can really navigate your schedule and make it work more successfully for you. The other thing that drives me crazy is, do you get a ping every time you get an email? Like, my phone would never stop pinging if I left that thing on. That is such a disruption to whatever you are trying to be laser focused on, whether it's your child who's trying to learn something or it's something you're working on for your business. That is other people's way of saying, I want your attention right now. Ping, 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 ping. Turn that off. I have times I check email through the day. I check them top of the day, I check them middle of the day, and I check them end of the day for about 30 minutes. And then I can be focused. I can give people better answers. I can get them what they need. There's nothing that needs immediate attention, right? There's something that's an emergency, then I'll get a text from my operations manager who will say, I need your attention, right? But outside of that, it's really I'm making it on my schedule. I'm controlling my schedule. I'm not letting others dictate what my schedule is. That's a big thing, especially for, I think, women entrepreneurs, where we feel like we have to be everywhere at all times for our kids, for our business, for our clients. That's why you're going crazy. That's why you feel overwhelmed. That's why you're frustrated. And I approach managing my family, I don't want to call it managing, but you know, how we operate as a family, similar to business. What repeatable processes can you put in place? Is there any automation we can put in place? What structure can we have in place to make things run a little bit smoother? And I'm not saying like over structure it. I want it to be fluid, but the next thing I want to talk about is really establishing a routine with your kids. This is so important because when we were new at having them home for homeschool, what we noticed was happening is we were getting, oh my gosh, we have an emergency going on. We were, you know, putting out fires at the beginning of the day, and the kids are sitting, waiting, going, what am I supposed to do for school today, right? And then we were getting to them at 10:30, 11 o'clock, and now we've missed that great time where their brains are on and open and like sponges, and then we're tired and you know, because we've been dealing with fires for the last 3 hours, and now we're trying to get them to learn, and then there's just, you know, a rift. So what we learned was you have to make sure that you have like that set up a routine, particularly in the morning. I get up about an hour and a half to 2 hours before my kids get up every day. That helps me so much because I really, you know, can get into a centered space, do the things I need to do. I do that first run at my email. I set my intentions for the day. I, you know, write down any little like last notes of anything in terms of structuring my day to make sure it's going to run smoothly. Then the kids wake up, and then we can get into their routine, which should be established as well. Also, side note, you know, if you are a single mom or a single dad, God bless you. I know this is an extremely difficult time for you, and I hope these tips help. I want to say, if you have a partner, it's great to divide and conquer. If you don't, I want to just say kudos to you for doing the best you can with with navigating all this stuff. All of us are in this new world, so whatever camp that you're sitting in, these things will kind of help when you get them in place. But if you have a partner, divide and conquer. My husband and I always go like, okay, this is what's on the week, and I'll do this, you do that, and like he drops off at Taekwondo. We have social distancing Taekwondo here in Texas, which is amazing, but he drops off, I pick up. So we're in kind of a routine for some of those things. So establishing those early in the things that are happening in your daily schedule and your weekly schedule are really key. By the way, if you guys have tips or apps or anything that you recommend, tell me in comments. I love to get your comments and feedback, and if there's anything that you're doing or using, I want to hear about it in addition to what we're talking about today. So what else in terms of establishing a routine with the kids? Have a set time that they wake up. What is that alarm? And we have kind of a rule, like we don't let our kids have their devices at night, and your teenager's gonna go, oh, I don't have my phone, how I have to set my alarm. Nope, order a 1982 alarm clock for their room. I promise you, they're gonna hate it. They're gonna tell you it got broken. They're gonna tell you it doesn't work. She's tried everything. It doesn't matter. Keep whatever it takes to get that alarm clock in there. Devices get checked in at the end of the day, so they're getting good sleep, but have that time that they wake up. My son is so cute. He always says, Mommy, wake me up 20 minutes extra early tomorrow, because I like to have a little time to relax in the morning. So Corin actually likes to get up about a half an hour before Bella, because he really likes to, he's kind of like me, he likes to ease into his day. So he'll sit and just eat his breakfast and play with his dogs. He feeds his dogs in the morning, all that good stuff. And then decide, besides the wake up time, what things do you want them to do before school? Your kids should be doing chores before school, especially at this at-home environment. This is something at homeschool that we really instilled in them and has been so helpful. You don't have commute time. They don't have to like even get ready. They can just throw on some clothes and show up to school, right? There's not a lot of getting ready. There's not packing lunches. There's not that busyness in the morning. Replace that with them helping. We tell our kids, like, everybody in this family has to contribute. So we have a couple chores they do in the morning, easy stuff like feeding the dogs, touching up the kitchen, doing a few things that are important. They do those, and then they go to school. And then after school, they have some more chores that they have to do, just just a few chores that they do every single day they're responsible for. And one of the questions I get all the time is like, how do you make your kids do the chores? I'm sure a lot of you have discovered this already. When I was a kid, it was like, if you do all these chores every week, you'll get allowance. So we did our chores Johnny on the spot, right? Today's environment is like a little different. They're like, yeah, I don't really care about money that much. And I'm like, what is happening to these children? So we had to go to a, no, you don't get your chores done, you don't get your device. So we have kind of a check-in period for devices while they're at school or sleeping at night. Excuse me. And if their chores are not done, then they don't get their device time. And if they have like repeat offenses of not doing it, and I have to like continually go, hey, you didn't get your stuff done, then they start to get penalties. Like, you're gonna lose your phone for 3 days if I have to talk to you about this again. So we have some harsh penalties in place only to keep them on that routine of doing their chores, the things that are expected. And guys, it's not crazy stuff, right? It's like dishes, empty the trash. It's not like we're asking them to like mow the lawn even. Like, we have a cleaning service, we have a lawn service, we have a pool service, so the hard stuff is really done. It's like dishes, laundry, you know, doing some of that life skill stuff is also really key right now, and has been helpful. And we've, you know, been pretty successful at that. Our kids do their own laundry. So they have a day, that's their laundry day, they start their laundry, and it's a whole thing. And then think about having required versus optional chores. This works really well. So the required chores is the stuff we just talked about, the stuff they have to do before and after school. Those are non-negotiables. You have to get them done if you want your devices, if you want your iPad, your phone, whatever. And then we have optional chores. So we have like a little board where we will put earn $3 for this, earn $5 for this, earn $2 for this. And the kids can go and take a chore off, and then they can earn that money. So Bella's not super enthusiastic at 14 about earning extra chores. She's more like, Mommy, where can I help you out with the business? Because she's looking for that bigger money. But it still works really well with Corin. And I'll tell you what, guys, since quarantine started, he has earned $250 from these little chores. Like, every day he's doing extra ones. So it's really productive. We get a little extra help where we need it around the house. And he's learning that for his contributions, he can earn abundance. And then he's like, Mommy, order this on Amazon. And so like last night, he's like, I want to order this lightsaber. And I'm like, whatever, it's your money, man. Like, you earned it, so you get to spend it on what you want. So that's a really successful one that we found. And he's 10, just to kind of give you guys the age frame that's working really well for. And then thinking about different life skills too. Like, Bella's 14, so she can make dinner now. She makes dinner at least twice a week, and not complicated stuff, but she's a pretty decent cook. Like, she makes spaghetti. She made this amazing buffalo chicken pizza the other day that like blew my mind. I'm like, where did you get this recipe? So she's kind of into cooking, and that helps out a ton, because that's the other thing with this at-home stuff is it's not just one meal a day anymore. Like, there's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's a lot of activity in the kitchen. And then she's responsible for cleaning the kitchen too, because I'm super obsessed with having a clean kitchen. It's really important to me. Like, I love to just have nothing on the island, and I have it all. I call it sparkled up. And so she's responsible for that. So have those chores in place. That really helps a ton in your daily routine. Now, the next thing is, as you're setting up in the next few weeks for virtual school or remote learning, whatever your district is calling it, you have to really consider each child's learning style. So think about, and I know everybody was like thrown into it at the end of last school year, and self-assess. Did it go well? Did it not? Now's the time to hit the reset button and go, okay, how do I set my kids up for success in this new environment where I can still thrive in business, they can thrive in school, but there's maybe a little bit more structure so we can all be successful. So considering each child's learning style, kids learn so differently based on who they are. As I mentioned earlier, Bella is really self-directed. So she has a desk in her office, but she's converted it to a makeup table because she's 14, but she's a straight A student. So she will do her homework sometimes at the table, sometimes, you know, hanging out in a cozy, you know, like, what do they call those? Like a pompous chair. she's like a typical, like, you know, kid that does everything online. As long as she's getting straight A's and she's getting good reports from her teacher, we're okay with her and that structure. And Corin, on the flip side, needs a little more support. He has to sit at that table to like focus. He's an artist, and so he's very like about the world, and it's a little harder for him to kind of zone in. So we put structure in place for him, and that has really helped him excel. We actually, with him, we kept him in, we used Time for Learning. I'll link that below for you guys. It's a great program like through the summer where they can still continue like learning their multiplication tables, and it helps with not having that gap in school where kids lose that big chunk of learning. So for him, we've had him doing Time for Learning. He never stopped. He's gonna get a 2-week break starting next week. We have some cousins coming to visit in town and things like that, so we're gonna have a little vacation scheduled. But my husband said, look, here's what we're gonna do. And so it's not an all-day school, but a couple hours a day to keep him on schedule. But as you're going into fall, think about maybe creating a workspace for your kids if they need that structure, and talk to them about the schedule, how it's going to work, you know, what their responsibilities are, and how you're going to support them. That they need to know that you're supporting them and through that process. And also have good conversations with them in advance on, if you notice mommy's on a call, you know, please be patient and I'll be with you as soon as I can. Here's something you can do if I'm busy and you need something. So that way you can have a little bit of that balanced client time and have one eye in the back of your head, right, on the kids. But prepare them for the fact that it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be days where it might feel a little frustrating, but at the end of the day, if you're working together as a family, you can all be successful. And then arrange your schedule to fit their needs. As they get into school in that first few weeks, I really recommend looking at your schedule and making your client times like before, after school, until you get them into that established routine. Then you can figure out like, okay, they don't need help while they're in this session or that session or whatever, and you'll be able to add more back into your schedule. But if you do that from the beginning, you'll be really tuned into managing and supporting them, being able to support them in a minimal way and letting the school handle the rest, and then you can focus on your business. The other thing that a lot of people don't think about, and we didn't either when we started homeschooling way back when, was how critical family time is, because you're together all day, but it's like school, 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 work, work, work. And it's like, you know, instead of having that break from school and then you're like all happy to see each other, you see each other all the time. But making sure that you still budget in family time is really important. That's not school time, that's not work time. So things like taking walks together, having a movie night together. We had the most amazing, it just happened by chance. Like my husband and I were hanging out in the patio and just chatting, trying to have some, you know, time together. And the kids were, you know, watching movies or whatever. And we came in and Bella was pulling up karaoke on YouTube, I guess. This is like a thing on YouTube. I didn't even know this was a thing. But apparently you can go to YouTube and like pull up karaoke. And so she's like, yeah, I'm gonna do a karaoke song. You wanna listen? And that turned into like my husband doing a song, and then my son. And then before you knew it, we were in a 3 to 4 hour like karaoke family night. And my husband even said the next day, he's like, that is like the best family night we've had in forever. It was so fun. So, and you have to get creative, right? Because a lot of you are staying home right now. So think about those things that you can do as a family where everybody laughs together. Maybe start a family game night like we used to have when we were little, right? Where you can connect in more of that family way versus such a daddy and mommy are the teacher, because that can get overwhelming for a child. They need to have that playtime with their parents, and it's so valuable to have that connection. So, and the other thing is too, to think about, this is a weird thing we never had to think about before, but all of us need to. Your kids are really, at least our kids are struggling with not having connection with other kids right now. So allowing them to have a Zoom call with their friend, allowing them to text or FaceTime. We've set up times with the kids' friends so they can talk and giggle and, you know, do chats together and things like that, because they feel really isolated. Like Bella especially had a really hard time in her first few months in quarantine. Like it was rough, because it was her birthday when they shut down the schools. We had to cancel her party. All of her friends' stuff through the summer got canceled. And so for that age group, I think, especially like junior high, high school, it's been a rough go. So allow them that time and that space to connect, because they're missing that. And even Corin, he's only 10, so his conversations are like hilarious. He's all like, hey, do you like Star Wars? And just like, listen, they're so funny. And the other thing that's funny to me about kids is they don't talk on the phone, right? They don't talk on the phone like this. They're all like, they just do on like the speaker phone, and they can't figure out, anyway, it's just funny to me because it's so different from the world we grew up in. But allow them that time, guys. That really helps. And the last thing I want to share with you is don't forget about you time. This is something when you are going a mile a minute, and it's really easy to go, oh my gosh, I have to do this for my kids, I have to do this for my clients, I have to do this, you know, to help out my husband or my wife or whatever. And we've gone through, like my poor husband right now, we just opened our pool, like we were building a pool. There's been so much work with like getting the chemistry right, and then these people are coming and the fence is like, it's been a mess. So that poor guy's been running crazy. So you have to remember to take care of yourself. Schedule some downtime. You are driving the bus, you're leading the ship, so you have to take care of yourself so you can best serve your family and you can best serve your clients as well. There's a great quote out there that says, you can't pour from an empty container, meaning if you don't fill yourself up, if you don't take care of yourself first, you are no good to anyone else. So whether it's reading a book on Sundays, whether it's taking a long bubble bath, listening to some music. I like to sit out on my balcony and listen to audiobooks. I like to do editing. I just love to edit. You guys know this because of the YouTube channels, but one-on-one time with your spouse or partner, like that's been the most valuable times now that the pool's open, is we like sit out on the patio and we just watch the sunsets, like an hour long, that we just take out of our day, no phones, no space, and we just get to like connect and talk. It seems like so silly, but you have to make time for those things because it's really easy to get tied into, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Guess what? Like the world's not going to end if the dishes don't get done at a precise time. That's what I'm talking about with keeping things fluid. That emotional connection to keep your mental well-being healthy, or taking a walk, doing those things, does so much more for your vibration and your spirit, that the other stuff will get worked out, right? I always tell, like my clients ask me all the time, like, how do you balance this big business and you have kids and you're a mom, like how do you balance all of this? And the reality is it's never all done. You have to recognize it's never going to be all done. So stop putting pressure on yourself like it has to be. My laundry hasn't been all done ever. Like I always, whenever I'm doing laundry, I always think like, is there ever anywhere in the world where all the laundry is done? Like I remember when I was young and single, like I could get all the laundry done, but with like kids and like dogs and like crazy stuff, I'm like, it's crazy. And now with the pool and, you know, like pool towels and things like that, the laundry's never gonna be done. I've just accepted that fact and my life is so much better for it. So guys, I hope these are helpful tips for you guys. And I know it's a new environment that you're working in, but your business does not have to stop growing because of this. You just have to approach it kind of like you do with business and put those repeatable systems in place, get a little structure around it, and then just show up and love on your kids and support them as much as you can. And once you get them established in that routine, I promise it will be doable. You can do this, you got this. And I know you guys are getting busier. I know we're getting crazy busy with travel reopening, which is a great thing. It's happening at the same time school's going back into session though, right? So I hope this is some great tips to help you balance. If you have any tips for us, leave us in comments. And listen, if you've ever thought about having your own portable, profitable travel business, or if you are looking to grow and you want to get real systems and repeatable processes in place for your travel business, think about applying for Careers on Vacation. You can go to careersonvacation.com/ready now and meet with one of our enrollment coaches, and we can talk to you about our programs that we have to help you do that. But in the meantime, guys, I wish you so much love and abundance. I wish you the world. I am going to go over to Facebook and check the comments, so if you guys have questions, I'll go over there and respond and read those and respond back. Thank you for tuning in today. As usual, it's been so much fun. I love you guys. I'll see you next week. Hey guys, Cyndi Williams here. If you like that last video, make sure you check out my other content to help you grow and scale your very own travel business. And also, I invite you to travel around the world with me and find out what I'm doing in my portable, profitable, award-winning travel business. Check out the videos.